This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I saw this article published by the BBC and I couldn't pass on doing a video on it because it is absolutely insane. The article is titled "Freemasons Call for End to Discrimination of Its Members." So the Freemasons are complaining that their members are being discriminated against. They're calling for an end of discrimination. I'm calling for an end of Freemasonry. How about that? I'm calling for citizens to rise up in their communities and run these Masonic temples out of their towns. That's what we all should be doing, because this is where the worship of Lucifer starts, and these people grow and they spread like the virus, like the STD that they are. Because that's what they are. They're human STDs. The nerve that these people have to say that they're discriminated against when the majority of people don't even know they exist. The only ones that really do are those of us who are awake. And then maybe a few people who sign up or know somebody who's a second degree Freemason or third degree who doesn't even know what they're involved in, other than partaking in embarrassing rituals where they're sitting in their tighty whities blindfolded with skid marks in their underwear. And a guy holds a sword up to their throat and they take a vow and an oath of secrecy. So the Freemason have placed full-page advertisements in several national newspapers calling for an end to the discrimination against their members. Aww. The United Grand Lodge of England said it welcomes individuals from all walks of life, but that members are undeservedly stigmatized. It said it had written to the Equality and Human Rights Commission. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. The nerve of these people. You know, this is just mockery is what it is. Because people really need to know what they teach and who they worship. And the teachings of Albert Pike. Because then people would run them out and discriminate against them because they deserve to be discriminated upon. They don't deserve to exist. Their organization should be dismembered or disbanded, I should say. The lodges should be burned to the ground. These places of, it's a brotherhood and a fraternity. If people only knew what they were teaching. It says recent news stories question the influence of Freemasons in policing and in Parliament. Well, that's because we already know the influence that they have in the police force. I did a video on it on this channel, which you can find, talking about the fraternal police orders inside of Freemasonry. And how do you think they get these false flag events and these cops to participate in them? Because they're members of this secret society. It says in an advertisement in the Times, the Daily Telegraph, and the Guardian, the governing body of Freemasonry complains of the gross misrepresentation of its members. Oh, gross misrepresentation. I think the teachings that you teach are what's really gross. I think it's pretty gross that a bunch of grown men sit around in diapers or whatever they're wearing with white gloves on, standing on their checkered floor, crapping their pants, talking about controlling, the events that occur in the world, worshiping Lucifer. I think that's a real gross representation of the human race. That's what I think that is. It says under the headline, "Enough is Enough," and this is funny. Chief Executive David Staples said the organization raised more than 33 million euros for good causes last year. So of course it's 33, so you get your mockery with your 33 right in our faces. And of course it's for good causes, right? Because remember, philanthropy is what they are taught. They are taught to be charitable. It's all a fraud. It's all a front to give the illusion that they're good people, that they care about the community. And all these suckers out there believe it. They take it hook, line, and sinker. He said people of any race, faith, age, class, or political persuasion are welcome in the 300-year-old organization. The United Grand Lodge in England is restricted to men, although separate women-only lodges also exist. Yes, and those would be called the Eastern Star. And they begin recruiting young girls at the age of 5, 6 years old. The Rainbow Girls, which I've done a video on as well, they start indoctrinating them with a worship of Lucifer as well. Now, if you're not familiar with Albert Pike, all Masons are forced or they have to read Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. Albert Pike, the famous Freemason. Here, let's read some quotes from Albert Pike's book, and you can see how they control things, how whether they're a Zionist or they're, a Jesuit, or whether they're just Satanists. Okay, Masons really have a hand in the controlling of all these things, because all of these people who go into these other groups always start, at least in Freemasonry, or learn the teachings of Freemasonry. Pike says the Third World War must be fomented between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. The multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose dualistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, will receive the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Quote, Albert Pike, 1871. Other quotes from Mr. Pike, in case you're not aware and you're new to the channel or you just forgot, that which we must say to the crowd is, we worship a God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. To you, sovereign grand inspectors general, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai culminate him? Yes, he says, Lucifer is God. That is what they believe. That is what they are taught. And that is what has infiltrated our world and our society. If you're somebody saying, who are these people? How do they worship Lucifer? Where does this stuff happen? How do they get together and get organized? Well, it starts in every town, because every town has these secret organizations. You'll see the signs on the highway and you won't even know what it is. There'll be a sign that says that there's a Freemason lodge. Then you'll pull into the town. There'll be signs directing you to the lodge. So in other words, somebody who is from another, a Masonic lodge in a different state knows where the lodge is in that town, because these people are all part of the Brotherhood. Albert Pike also, in addition to being a scumbag, among many other things, also had his hand in the organization and the funding and starting of the KKK. Because these people are controllers. They know what they have to do to bring in their new world order. And like I just read the quote from him about destruction of Christianity, this is stuff you'll find in the protocols of the elders of Zion. The goal for them is to destroy Christianity. So it's funny how these Masons are coming out talking about being discriminated against when nobody's discriminated against more than Christians. Despite what society will try to tell you, they'll try to say, are you kidding me? Everything's based on Christianity. Christianity's this big bully, big brother who, won't allow anyone else to have an opinion and all this stuff. They try to twist it to manipulate people into hating Christians. But there's no people who are more discriminated against. And we see that because they're allowed to mock Jesus at every turn. They're allowed to mock Christians at every turn. But if we say something against, say, a 5-year-old being allowed to determine his gender, then we're hateful and we get banned from speaking and giving our opinion because we're considered hateful bigots. So a complete joke that these people have the nerve to talk about being discriminated against, when really what we need to do is just end Freemasonry. And it could possibly happen if people woke up. But see, people will hear this stuff and they'll go, well, if they want to worship Lucifer, let them worship Lucifer, right? Like, huh? I mean, really? Do you know what that entails? You know what that means? Because all of these teachings that talk about worshiping Lucifer talk about mysticism and black magic, and all of it revolves around pedophilia and child abuse. The teachings of Crowley, right? But people won't go that far down the rabbit hole. They'll just go, if they want to worship Lucifer and you want to worship Jesus, go ahead. Because they're convinced that none of it's real, right? That we all were created on a big bang. The stupid stuff that they teach to people. I mean, it's absolutely comical if you actually just listen to what they're saying. Oh, the molecules in the sky and a big bang. Yeah, sure, absolutely. No evidence of that. Sounds like somebody just was high on acid and came up with that theory, but people believe it. So again, They're talking about being discriminated against when what we should be doing is we should be making people aware of what they teach, aware of what these people are involved in. Make people, because listen, people listen to this and they go, I don't even know what Freemasonry is. Well, guess what? Look it up in your town. There's a lodge. Okay. And the members keep this secret. So the fact that they act like they're discriminated against, there's no Masons really walking around going, hi, I'm a Freemason. The ones who have, bumper stickers or stickers on their car, you have to ascend to a certain level to even be allowed to do that inside of the Masonic lodges. Okay? Well, you might see them at a fair, like a 4th of July parade or something. They might be out there, walking around like they're cool. Is that the only time that they really reveal who they are? So these people don't know. These people are just mocking, right? Because they're getting people to accept Freemasonry. Now that all this stuff is going on with everybody accepting everything, accepting all this nonsense with the genders, accepting everything, they're like, well, we might as well just come out and say, hey, we're discriminating against too, and we should have equal. And people just go, yeah, stop picking on them, Christians. I mean, it's a complete and utter joke. So they're calling for people to stop picking on them. I'm calling for them and all Freemason lodges to be eliminated. They should be run out of their towns. These people should be run out of every country and put on an island that's caged in, and let them perform their rituals on one another. I thank you for listening to today's show. What a complete joke these people are. God bless all of you and your families.